Good morning. I need to tell you something about Cristiano Ronaldo that no one is saying right now. The man is 41 years old and he's about to play in his 6th World Cup. He still trains harder than guys half his age. The world looks at this and calls it greatness. And it is. I'm not taking that away from him. But there's a question underneath all of it that nobody asks. And once you hear it, you're gonna see Ronaldo in a completely different light. And yourself as well. What is he running from? And stay with me because this is not about football. Let me set this up. Right now, Ronaldo is chasing 1,000 career goals. No footballer has ever hit that number. Ronaldo right now is about at 953 goals. He sleeps in 90-minute cycles 5 times a day. He has a gym in every house that he owns. His body fat percentage at 41 is lower than most professionals at 21 is. He follows a diet so strict. No sugar, no alcohol, no cheat meals. He eats 6 times a day. And he does that every single day. And the whole world admires that. That's why he's the GOAT. That's why he's the best. That's greatness. They call this discipline and greatness. And yeah, on one level, that is true. He is the greatest. He is very disciplined. But let me ask you this simple question, and I want you to really sit with it. What kind of man can't stop? Not want, can't. Because there's a difference between a guy who loves the game and keeps playing and a guy that has structured his whole life around output, because the alternative is sitting still. And sitting still means feeling something he has been running from for over 20 years. And this is where it gets real, because the engine underneath all of his success, the trophies, the finals, the wins, the early gym sessions, is addressed to someone that doesn't exist anymore. Cristiano Ronaldo grew up on the Portuguese island of Madeira. The family was poor, 4 kids sharing 1 bedroom. His mom worked as a janitor and as a cook. There were Christmases where nothing happened, birthday got skipped. Ronaldo has talked about this. He was standing outside of McDonald's and asking strangers for burgers for Christmas. Years later, he took his son, Cristiano Ronaldo Jr., back to the house where he grew up. And his son couldn't believe what he saw and asked the question, "Papa, did you really grow up here?" Now, his father, Jose, and let me read this, Jose Diniz Aveiro. Jose was a war veteran. He got sent to Mozambique during the war times. He came back broken and he became an alcoholic. He worked as a gardener and as a part-time kidman in his local football club, where Ronaldo started his football career. Kids at his team at the local football club used to tease Ronaldo about his father, about his drinking and his job. Ronaldo said this in an interview that his father was drunk almost every day. He also said that he would have liked to have him around more. Although he never mistreated his kids, he wasn't the best father. Think about that. A father who was there, but who never really was there. Who probably loved his son, but was fighting a war inside of himself. And the kid watching all of this, learning that the world is safer when you are in total control of it. The falling apart is what happened to men who let go. In 2005, his father died of liver failure. He was 52 and Ronaldo was still 20, only 2 years into his football career, just starting to become the player the football world one day would obsess over. And his father never saw any of that. And the next part, this is the moment that explains everything Ronaldo has ever done since that day. 2019. Ronaldo sat down with Piers Morgan for an interview. During the conversation, they showed him a clip he has never seen before. Footage of his father, Jose, where he says that he's proud of his son, but he can't watch his matches in the stadium because he is too anxious, because he loves his son that much. Ronaldo's never seen this video of his father saying that he's proud of his son. And in front of millions of people, he breaks down. He was trying to hold it together, but he failed. He started to cry on Piers Morgan, the TV show, in front of millions of people. And through the tears, he said something which I think is extremely important. And not enough people give credit to what Ronaldo says here. To be number 1, and he don't see nothing about his success. The greatest goal scorer of football history. He won all the trophies, all the awards, but the one person he did it for was never there to witness it. He never saw the trophies, the goals, the victories. Every goal since then has been a letter sent to an address that doesn't exist anymore. And because the letters come back undelivered, he keeps sending new letters. But stay with me, because this is where it connects to something that you already know about yourself, even if you are not conscious about it. Multiple sources say that Ronaldo stood beside his father when he died, and he promised him that he is going to become the world's greatest footballer. And then something else happened. Quieter, but maybe even more defining. Ronaldo said that he was never going to touch alcohol in his life again. Never. Not once. He has never touched alcohol since then, and I support him in that decision. But he did it because he saw that it killed his own father. His brother Hugo became a drug addict, and his mother said that if Ronaldo would not have picked football to go all in on, he would have become a drug addict himself. So the discipline everybody admires, it's real, but it's also a wow. A line drawn in the sand by a 20-year-old kid that saw what happens when his father lost control. And he decided that he would take control over everything in his life. Every meal, every sleeping cycle, every rep, every day, every minute, because not taking control meant becoming what destroyed his own family. Now here's where this actually starts to make sense, because this pattern, you have seen it before. Maybe not with alcohol, maybe not with a deaf parent, but the guy who controls every variable in his own life, his routine, his wake-up time, his gym, his success. Because somewhere deep down he saw what happens when things fall apart. That guy is watching this video right now. Ronaldo once said something that most people just read as a motivational quote and move on. He said, "I feel an endless need to improve, to learn and to grow." An endless need, not a desire. He doesn't have an off switch. The kid who saw that losing control means losing his family can't switch off because of that. And the world sees that, reads it and puts it on a poster and calls it the Ronaldo mentality. And the world is like, be like Cristiano Ronaldo. They put it on posters, they glorify it, and look, I get it. You want to be like that guy, but you don't want to be him for the reason he is that guy. But think about what this actually means for your own life. The training at 5 a.m. The diet that doesn't allow a single cheat meal. The gym session that never gets skipped. The target that gets hit and immediately replaced by a bigger and more scarier target. The physique that gets hit and you immediately desire to be bigger and leaner every time you reach what you set to reach. You're never satisfied. You always need more. You need the next version of yourself to not stay still and feel the emotions you have been running from. The goalposts move every single time, and they don't move because you're ambitious. They move because it was never about reaching your goal. It was about moving closer to your goal. Because moving means you don't stay still and you don't have to face what broke you. And this is the part nobody talks about. If you took away Ronaldo's schedule, no training, no perfect meals, no perfect sleeping, what would he be left with? Who would he be? I'm not being cruel. I'm asking the question he has been avoiding for over 20 years. And it's the same question a lot of you are avoiding. Because from the outside, a man who runs towards something and the man who runs away from something look identical. Same work ethic, same discipline, the same result. The difference is what happens when the running stops, when the moving stops. The guy running towards something, he can stop, he can take off. The guy running away from something, he will never be able to stop and sit because he's been running from his own life, from his past, from his emotions. Ronaldo once said in a way that sounds like pride, "I gave everything for football. I've been in the game for the last 20 years. I did everything, and it still isn't good enough. The 1,000-goal mark is still out there. The World Cup trophy is still missing. The next contract extension gets signed at 41 years of age because the machine doesn't have an off switch." So let me ask you directly, and I have to ask because I had to ask myself the same thing. Is your machine running towards something or away from something? Because those two things feel the same at 5 a.m. in the morning. But once you stop, you will notice the difference. I need to talk about Messi now, but probably not in the way you expect me to do. The Ronaldo versus Messi debate has consumed football for over 20 years. Who is better? Who has more trophies? Who is the GOAT? But I think this entire conversation missed the real point, because these two guys aren't even playing the same game. Because Messi plays for his internal self. He doesn't react to critics, he just wants to level up his own standards. To Messi, the beauty of the game matters. He'd rather sees a beautiful combination that leads to a goal than himself just simply tapping the ball into the net. Ronaldo is the opposite. He draws his energy from outscoring his rivals, from being better than Messi. His best performances come when the media around him looks at him and he's comparing him to other players. You can see this in the El Clásicos, in the Champions League finals, in all the big moments where it's Ronaldo versus another big player. Criticism doesn't dysfunction him. He uses it as a fuel. He needs to see the scoreboard and he needs to see that he is going up and getting closer to that 1,000 goal mark. Gary Lineker broke this down. He said that Messi brings joy and Ronaldo brings intensity. Ronaldo's body is a project. Messi's body is a vehicle. And this is where it changes, because The next part is about you. You out there, and I know this because it was myself as well. You are playing the Ronaldo game with intensity, with the external scoreboard. Grinding at 5 a.m., optimizing every input you can, measuring every output, fueling yourself with doubt and comparison. Looking at the guy who seems to do it effortlessly. The friend who built the business without burning out. The competitor who looks calm while you are on fire. And wondering what's wrong with you. So let me ask you one uncomfortable question. What if the rivalry was never with your competition? What if the competition that has been eating at you for years isn't with your colleague? What if it's with a version of yourself? The one without output, discipline, or the proof that he is good enough. Ronaldo versus Messi was never about the rivalry. It was always about Ronaldo trying to prove to a dead man that he was worth being watched, worth being loved. Who are you trying to prove it to? And this matters. Can they hear you? Can they see you? Let me show you what it looks like when the performance starts to break. Qatar 2022, Ronaldo was 37 years old. He arrived at the World Cup after being publicly benched by his coach. He wasn't the starter for Portugal any longer. Ronaldo in the quarterfinals came onto the pitch as a substitute. And Portugal lost against Morocco in this game. And the pictures that got caught after the game says a lot. Him walking off the pitch, crying, his hands on his head, disappearing alone in the dark, sad, crying. The greatest goalscorer in the history of the sport, disappearing alone, crying. Think about what that moment is. The thing he built his entire identity around. Being the guy, being the starter, being the best. Not being replaceable. All of this moved on without him in it. And for the first time, maybe in his entire life, he couldn't perform his way out of it. But something even more important happened about 2 years later, and this gives me a lot of hope. The Euro 2024, Portugal versus Slovenia. Ronaldo stepped up for a penalty in overtime in the quarterfinals. The kind of moment he built his entire career towards. And he misses. And right there on the pitch, in front of millions of people, he breaks down. He starts to cry because he missed that penalty. Visible, uncontrollable tears, and his teammates start to surround him, and he's not alone anymore in this scene. Portugal ends up winning on penalties. But the one thing everybody remembers is not the win, and not that Ronaldo scored the penalty in the end, it's the tears. It's that Ronaldo showed that he is not perfect. Think about what actually happened. In that moment, the mask slipped. The guy who has been controlling everything for 20 years showed that he is not controlling anything anymore. The world saw what was underneath that mask, and the world didn't walk away from him. They even moved towards him. That matters for him and for you as well. If you are the guy who's terrified of what other people would think if he stops performing, even for a second, then it matters to you as well. The 2026 World Cup will soon start, and Ronaldo confirmed that this will be his last World Cup he is ever going to play in, and he is ready to finally end his career. He is 41 at this World Cup. He has won countless trophies, scored so many goals, but there's one cup he never won, the World Cup. And that's the question that is going to follow him onto that pitch in 2026. Was it enough? Because think about what that tournament is for him. Because this boy from Funchal in Madeira, promising his dad to be the best when his dad was dying, who spent 20 years keeping that promise he made, who has won everything but the one trophy that the world uses to separate the great from the greatest. If he wins it, does the letter finally get delivered? Does the wow expire? Does the machine stop? And if he doesn't win it, who is he? What was this all for? And this brings me to the part that is actually about yourself, because you already know this feeling, even if your stage is smaller. Ronaldo at 41 is asking the uncomfortable question that most ambitious guy never ask until it's too late. And he is asking it in front of the entire world. Is this machine running towards something real or running away from something I have been avoiding for a very, very long time? Who are you without the input? Who are you without the output? Without the grind, without the control, without the discipline. Because every goal Ronaldo scores is addressed to a guy who died in 2005. And the delivery will never arrive. That's why the performance never will stop. That's why 1,000 goals will never be enough. That's why he can't stop. The question for you is simpler, but just as hard. Who are you sending your goals to? And can they even hear you? If the answer is somebody who's already gone, a dead parent, an old version of yourself, or somebody that made their mind about you a long, long time ago, then the machine will never stop on its own. You will hit the number, you will hit your goal, and you will feel good for about 20 hours before the whole thing starts from the beginning. You need a new goal, a new target, a better one. And 20 years from now, you be 41, still chasing validation from somebody you will never get it from, no matter how hard you try and how many goals you will achieve in your life. So now you understand this pattern. The wound creates this drive. The drive becomes the identity, and the identity becomes a prison. Because the thing that made you great is the same thing that won't let you stop. What you got now is a lens, a way to look at your own ambition and ask the following. Honestly, where is this coming from? You can catch the moment when grind stops being about ambition and becoming, and it becomes a way for you to avoid. You can catch yourself when the goalposts keep moving and ask yourself why. You can sit in a moment without being productive and feel what's coming up, because the thing that's coming up is probably what you have been running away from. You don't have to stop being ambitious. Ronaldo never was, but you have to learn to realize what your ambition really means. Are you ambitious because you're building towards something, or because you're running away from something? The tricky part now is actually doing something with this, because knowing the pattern and breaking the pattern are two very, very different things. And most guys that hear something like this video will nod along and agree with everything that's said on screen. They will be feeling seen for about 10 minutes before they go back into their old ways of doing things. So right now, ask yourself this one question to end this. Who am I and what am I avoiding? Ronaldo might get this answer in the stadium this summer, but you don't need a stadium. You can do this right now. If I helped you see something today or see something in Ronaldo, leave a follow, a like, and a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.